Welcome everyone to Podcast 181. Are you turning risks into opportunities? Don't go away.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everyone. I hope you're having a good day or morning or whatever it is when you're listening to this podcast. Today we're going to talk about the Risk and Opportunity Register. Please don't get bored by this title. This is actually a game changer when it comes to construction management, and it ties into our Lean and IPD series because it's really exactly what we need to be doing in order to reduce costs and leverage our success for finishing on time, staying under budget, having a good quality project, and making sure that we have the funds, quite frankly, that we need and the opportunities to finish the project within those stipulated sums, within that stipulated duration. So please stay with us today. It's going to be some good content. But first, before I begin there, I want to ask you directly, if you're enjoying this content, please share this podcast with two people. Think about it right now. What two people, your owner, your boss, your direct supervisor, the director of operations, a foreman, a craft worker, a brother, somebody else in construction, a long-lost relative, anybody, send them your favorite episode or send them this podcast, share it with them, or share this on a social media platform. Help us get the message out, because having people that are benefiting from the content is key. And it's really nice when people are able to, stay caught up and get these episodes as they come out every weekday. So, one other thing I want to say, and I don't think you should be ashamed of doing, is sending out an email blast. So if you're in a company and there are people that would enjoy this, look it up on the computer, on Apple Podcasts or on the Libsyn feed, and copy the link, and then do an email blast to all the superintendents or all the PMs or whoever in your company you think would enjoy the content and be better for it. So that's my challenge for you. Get that content out there. Share this podcast for me, please. So again, we're going to talk about the Risk and Opportunity Register. But before we do that, I've got one or two items here to take care of. I was given this picture. Actually, Spencer sent this to me, and this is Dr. Eli Goldratt's headstone. And what it says on it is, 1, people are good. 2, every conflict can be removed. 3, every situation, no matter how complex it initially looks, is exceedingly simple. 4, every situation can be substantially improved. Even the sky is not the limit. 5, every person can reach a full life. 6, there is always a win-win solution. And I really like this. So this little picture, I figured I'd mention to you on a podcast. If you want this content, please let me know, and I'll email it to you, or I'll put it in the show notes or something. But I thought that was super neat. So what am I excited about in life? I'm excited about companies that get training for their people. I was just reached out to by 2 companies. One company scheduling a boot camp, the other one working on scheduling an initial kickoff visit with me so that we can explore the possibility of getting training to their folks. So proud of those people that are doing that and focusing on the benefits and the assets that people are as our first priority in our companies. Really love that. So value-based companies and leadership teams and leaders are absolutely over the top fantastic. So here's a little, so that's closing out that section. So here's a comment from one of our listeners and some feedback. I actually asked him how he was doing. There's a couple of people that have been sick lately, so I've been texting and asking how folks are. And this person, a really, really nice guy, I've done a project walk with him. He said, "I'm great, Jason. How are you? I've got to say, I've really been enjoying the podcast episodes lately. I also just bought your book and started reading it yesterday." So really appreciate that positive feedback, and we'll keep going. We'll keep going on these podcasts. So how is the industry changing? The formula for remarkable leadership and company structures, meaning how to create organizational health, is known. And so I believe that those who are decoding this will be the ones that succeed. And actually, I won't mention names, but there's a large general contractor, there's a mid-sized general contractor here locally in Phoenix that's known for having a remarkable culture and great teaming practices and a great company vision. These are the kinds of companies that are not only going to get the word of mouth, but get the work, and they're going to succeed because they have engaged people. And so that's one thing that I see changing and continuing to change in the construction industry. And so if people really want to survive, they have to have great teams, they have to have a great culture, and they have to have organizational health. So let's get right into our podcast topic today. I don't think it's going to be too long. Here's the conflict. You are not identifying the risks and opportunities early enough and reviewing them frequently enough. So I will say that on most projects, even on IPD projects, some lean projects that I've seen, they don't always utilize what is called a risk and opportunity register. And I would really caution against doing that, meaning that we should use those on every single project. Here's a little example. I've used, and this was at the research laboratory, Ryan and I used a risk and opportunity register, outlined them, put a dollar value to them, and put a percentage of likelihood next to them, and projected possible contingency use based on it, set some targets to reduce that, and really went after some problems that we thought were going to happen. You know, some of them were centered around scaffolding for the exterior because we had a horrifically complex exterior. Another one was for floor floating. You know, another one was for design changes for the added fourth floor, for increase in costs due to materials, and a number of other key topics. And we wrote these down. We said, what's the associated dollar value? What's the likelihood? And then we set to work making assignments to reduce those exposures. And that project finished fantastically from a financial, from all aspects, but especially from a financial standpoint. So fast forward, any project where I have direct control, we use that. One project I recommended it, but I didn't have the ultimate say. And I said, hey, you know, the risks here, and we should get this on a register and identify some dollar values. The risks here are really with the tile, with the exterior stone, and there were a couple of other things that I added. And it was like, not really paying attention. And turns out the stone ended up being one of those high-risk items, procured too late, and it came really close to affecting the end date. And I just thought back to that. That could have affected the end date in a significant way. And if we had, and maybe if I would have been, and so this is a failure on my part, but maybe been a little bit more forceful, or if the team had listened more, then that could have been expedited, could have been a focus. We could have reduced that exposure and possibly had it not affect the team. But since the entire team didn't buy in on the fact that that was a risk, then that didn't happen. And it ended up causing a significant variation on the project, and it just wasn't very happy. And so throughout the years, you know, some companies have an MSR, a monthly status report. Some companies have a PSR, a project status report. Some company, every company has a different acronym for, a monthly report on where the project is going. On those reports, we typically show how are we doing financially, how are we doing from a quality standpoint, safety standpoint. I already said finances, schedule standpoint, but I've always wanted to plug into our projections however that company projects the ultimate targeted fee, meaning how are we projecting? What are our finances looking like? Are we at 0.1? Are we at 0.96? Are we at 0.90? I've always wanted to plug in the risk and opportunity register. If we're not projecting possible risks, assigning a dollar value to them, and then a likelihood, meaning a probability, a percentage there, and then identifying a total dollar amount, and then seeing if we have that either in contingency or in internal contingency, or buyout savings, then we automatically know we have a problem, right? So I would just advocate that in every MSR, PSR, status report, whatever you call it on a monthly basis, we really need to include these risk and opportunity registers with a dollar amount. And that needs to show up somewhere and be tallied somewhere as a category. If it says, all right, I wanted to make this amount, this is what we're targeting, we're at 0.96. Well, why don't we have another line that says, if all of the risks are actualized, meaning if they all come to pass, we're at 0.881, right? And seeing that number would motivate the project team to reduce those by weekly or monthly or biweekly, tracking that and taking preventative steps to make sure that these risks don't come to pass. And so here's the principle. A risk and opportunity register is a register. It's basically an Excel sheet. It's a matrix where you list down all of your risks and you format them in columns. And there's a pretty neat way that you can do this. And so here are the columns typically. It'll be the description on the left. What was the original conditions of satisfaction? What's the probability that will happen? What's the estimated cost if it does? What is that dollar amount total to? Who's going to bird dog this? And what are the due dates? What are the target dates, right? And so this register will have this information in there for risks and opportunities. And these, dollar amounts are tallied. And this is a document that you can come up with in your fresh eyes meetings in pre-construction and then review periodically during construction. And I would even say weekly in the team meeting. But, why wait for these big things to happen? Why not get out ahead and make sure that they don't happen? And that's what a risk and opportunity register is all about. It's about identifying, sharing, and managing risks and then the opportunities. But most importantly, in my mind, are the risks. It makes everything transparent. Like I said before, it could be effectively put on the status reports for the projects on a monthly basis. And, it can project properly what would happen financially from either a contractor contingency or an internal contingency or even an owner contingency standpoint if those risks came to pass. You can also calculate in there, a percentage for unknown risks. And if your financial position doesn't look good, if those actually came to pass, then your team needs to be motivated to prevent them from ever happening. But the bottom line is you're projecting your either contingency usage or fee loss and seeing what would happen if it came to pass, so that everyone can see, everyone can know, and everyone can act together to reduce the likelihood or the probability. It's basically about sharing knowledge. It's making it visual, making it transparent, making sure that we have it categorized in a way that we can do something about it. And so this risk and opportunity register will keep the team's eyes focused on prevention instead of reaction. Because when we're talking about good schedules, when we're talking about flow, when we're talking about finances, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And if we're always supposed to be looking for the problems and bringing problems to the surface, then the second priority is to do that as soon as possible. And to actually create that spiritually before it's created temporally. Meaning if you can anticipate risks ahead of time in your mind and prevent them through physical action, then you don't have to find them through physical action in the field when it's already too late. And so I would, just a couple of tips here, review this register often in team meetings because the current condition is we don't focus on it enough. We do our financial projections and we paint this rosy picture when we all have enough experience to see the potential risks and opportunities. And so we don't focus enough on the potential loss. We talk ourselves into a good situation and our eye isn't on the ball. And mistakes are inevitable if we're not trying to find them. And so we need to try to find them. And so my challenge would be to create one in your Fresh Eyes meeting, get collaboration around it, tally it up, project that on your financial trackers, see what the story is, and get the team rallied around the concept that there's a patient dying on the table and that we need to act. And so this might not be, in your mind, one of the most interesting podcasts that I've ever done, but I will say that this is one of the most helpful. And so in my opinion, I hope you've gotten something from it. It's a short little podcast. I'm going to close out right now. But the bottom line is, do you know what your risks are? Have you translated that into a dollar amount? And is the team doing something about it? Because if not, we're going to lose money and we're going to have a problem come up when it's too late. And so I'm doing this to help you prevent these. I really hope that you're able to rally your team and use this as a tool weekly in the team meeting so that you don't have to deal with those hard, stressful moments and not meet your targets at the end of the day so you can have wins, be proud, and live a remarkable life. Go home knowing that you did a good job. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.